Good evening, everyone. My name is Sameer. I'll be moderating this panel discussion. A little bit about myself. So, I worked across 5-6 market leader brands in India and overseas, in healthcare, in hospitality, in retail, in FMCG. So, quite a bit of trans-sectoral experience here. And now I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own company, IGNIBIZ, which we've just launched some time back. It's a pleasure to be moderating this discussion. It's a very pertinent topic, especially in the times that we are living in. This whole trifecta of profitability, growth, and values. Especially now we all know in the wake of the Hindenburg report, or I don't know whether it's Hindenburg or Hindenburg, it's a perspective. We live in very uncertain and very volatile times. And there can't be a more opportune moment to be discussing this topic for discussion today. And it's important to look at it and discuss it because it could have various connotations, various perspectives which can emanate from this discussion. This whole notion about corporate values versus shareholder value is something which is very significant and sometimes misconstrued or sometimes not taken in the right perspective. There's no one solution, there's no one formula. It means different things to different people, different things to different industries, sectors. What works for a certain sector may not be something that may work for a different sector. It's also about which stage of your company you are in. So the sequence is a little different. And there's a lot of research in the sense that, the purpose of the business, which is your why of the business, is very important, especially when you're building a company or you're a founder. So this is something which is either a mission or a cause or a passion or a belief. So there's a lot of focus on this why, especially when a business has to, start. And companies who focus on why are the companies who ultimately succeed in business. Companies who only focus on products and services and on other aspects usually are just, they become table stakes. They're not able to stand out because they don't have that reason to be in business. If they look at their business, what's the first thing that should come to their mind when you look at a business, or what they want their companies to be known for? So I think it's the why that is the core of the business, and this why ultimately leads to your hows and your whats. So why is the main thing, and hows and whats are just means to an end. So it's very important for businesses to focus on that core. And as I said, if you look at any good brand or companies who really moved the needle, companies who focused on this kind of a mindset have succeeded. For example, Adidas is only a shoe company at the end of the day. They basically make shoes. So the product is only a shoe. But Adidas never looked at their business of, thinking of it as a company that makes shoes. They were talking about celebrating athletes and celebrating athletics. That was the why of their business. Something that is a higher cause to be in business. Something which is a more superordinate reason to be in business. Apple, for example, Steve Jobs, when he disrupted the private computing business in the world, looked at his business totally different. He didn't look at it as just a computer or a hardware or something in the personal computing space. He wanted to empower the consumer. The idea was to put personal computing in the hands of consumers, to empower the customer, to ignite the human spirit, to empower the human spirit. That was the core of the business. Personal computing was just a means to an end. It could be some other product. So companies who focus on this why, who focus on a purpose, cause, or a belief, ultimately succeed in businesses. And this is something that has to come from the founders of the company or the board of the company in a mature kind of a context. And also one has to distinguish between shareholder value and corporate value. Your corporate values are ultimately the centrality of the business, the why of the business. And it means different things in different companies. For example, when a company is starting up, that time growth is very important, because growth is the only thing that can demonstrate proof of concept for the business. That can also demonstrate that you have a product market fit, which is very important. That's the only way that a company can establish that in the eyes of the customers or in the eyes of the shareholders or in the eyes of the market. So in the beginning, yes, growth is very important, at the expense of profitability maybe. But as a company matures and as a company starts scaling up, a lot of costs start increasing. There's a lot of scalability, economies of scale set in, the network effect scales in. And that is the time when a company has to walk this balance very, very carefully between profitability and growth. And it could mean different things in different life cycles of the business. It could also be in certain markets, if the capital market is looking at an industry from a different prism, then the whole strategy of the company is a little different. So it really depends on the situation, it depends on the kind of stage that you're in business, what is more important for you. You can trade off this at that time, but ultimately profitability is indeed important. It is important for your survival. But in the beginning period of your journey of your company, different aspects come into play. For example, when investors look at your business, they don't look at your business what it is today, but they look at your business what it will be tomorrow after 5 years or 10 years through a discounted cash flow process. So they look at it from a totally different prism. And they want to give you money because they know that growing a business means a lot of money. So they are willing to give you that money so that you become a bigger company. So it really has a different kind of connotations, and it's also very important to have a hand on the dial. You know what's important and how one walks this whole balance. And it means different things in different industries. For example, in healthcare, the value statement of a company is totally different because you're talking about humanity, you're talking about life, servicing life. But it now, I like to give it a little different spin here. Some of you were working and worked in very good brands, and then you become a founder, you're doing your own thing. So it's a totally different world, I'm sure. Now, I have been like that, I worked in 6 market leader brands and doing my own thing. So when it's a founder who starts a company and the company is at its infancy, it's just starting up, a lot has to do with the founder's own value system that rubs up on your business. It's the personality of the founder that also becomes the culture of the business. Whether the founder is introvert or extrovert or masculine or feminine or visionary or whatever, that culture becomes the personality of the business itself. Because it's the founder who starts the company, it's the founder who becomes the first director of the company, right from designing the logo, right from making the website, everything about the company is all about the founder. And it's an extension of the founder in terms of the culture of the organization. The trade-off is, and the difficult part is, once the business starts maturing, when you have 5,000 employees or you have 4,000 employees, while the founders are still bothered about that why, that belief or that cause or that purpose, but you have a principal agency problem as we, talk about in management. There is the principal, the founder, there is an agent who could become the CEO, then CEO becomes the principal, the VP becomes the agent, the VP becomes the principal, the general manager becomes, and it goes right from the top, and it spreads vertically, horizontally, x-axis, y-axis, in all dimensions. And when the company grows, it's very difficult for the founders to keep an eye on the business. One slip can be counterproductive, or can, we know what's happening in Adani's, we don't know what's the right thing or wrong thing. But 2 months back we thought it's like a game changer, this company is one of the largest, there's a different kind of perception. We talk good about the bigger companies, Tatas and all that, but someone down the line could really change the whole game, and there's no control on what your people are doing out in the market. And perceptions of people change. We have seen a lot of companies, and it's not good to take names. They were all good till Monday, but on the next week it was a totally different perception. So how this equilibrium between value and values? One is quantifiable, one is measurable, but the other one is very subjective, very qualitative. So it's a balance, it's an equilibrium between qualitative aspects of a business and quantitative aspects of a business. I mean, for all, we all know the purpose of a business is to maximize shareholder value. And that shareholder value has to do more with numbers, whether it's your profit and loss, or whether it's your balance sheet, or whether it's your cash flows. All these things are important in business because this is how your business will go to the next level. Also, it's very nice, it's like a nicety, we talk about value and we talk about values and, corporate governance and, these are exhortations according to me. And it's good to put it in your conference room, the first page of your annual report, you have a value statement, and then you have a mission statement, and you have a vision statement. I mean, how many people in a company are called chief values officers? If value is so important, there has to be someone in the organization who's an evangelist, who's this gatekeeper, who's the person whose eyes are on the values of the business, not on the value of the business. Values, this one S is of a lot of significance. So keeping that kind of a paradox in mind, keeping that kind of a, idiosyncrasies of business in mind and the practical aspects in mind, how does one walk this balance? How does one keep a focus on the why of the business, but the what's and the hows, which are mostly your teams that deliver at the end of the day? How does one really, in practical terms, keep that balance on a day-to-day basis? I would like to have some interesting, perspectives from you as to really how does one kind of, measure it, or how does one really keep an eye on the business? Because it's one thing to say, they say you walk your talk, but before you, and then only you should talk your walk. So it's always important that before you talk your walk, you have to walk your talk. So how does one keep that kind of a perspective in mind? I mean, we can start, you can control what you want, you can stop breathing, but you don't have to think that you're breathing. So I just wanted to have a different thought on that. So it's very important, as all of them have said, that it's not something that you've written, it's momentary, it's frozen in time, it's something that you write on a wall, it's something which is it has to be sustained. It's an ongoing process. It's not something which is just once for a while, and it's very important for someone in the organization to have both the eagle's eye view and the worm's eye view, both long-term, both short-term, to connect 5,000 feet with 50 feet. Someone has to be playing that role in the organization. Either it's the founder who connects that 5,000 with 50, and your teams on a daily basis have to be, you have to remind them, you have to reiterate these things. It's not something that you tell them once in a while and for next 1 year you only talk about EBITDA and you only talk about sales and top line and all those things. So, it's a constant kind of a reiteration. So very interesting thoughts on that, and I think we had a great panel discussion which is never ending. If we sit for 1 hour more, we'll have 10 more perspectives. So we'll have to conclude paucity of time here. I can take one quick question, but I think we'll conclude after that. Please give all our speakers a very big round of applause. Thank you.